Hello, my name is Gabriela de Armas, and I'll be doing a psychological analysis on Will Byers from the series Stranger Things. First, let's start off with theories. Freud's theory. Through Freud's concept of anxiety, we can see how Will suffers from neurotic anxiety. Neurotic anxiety is defined as an apprehension about an unknown danger. After Will's disappearance in the Upside Down and his numerous encounters with Vecna, he experiences neurotic anxiety every time he has an episode in the Upside Down or is near anything related to it, such Hawkins' lab. Erickson's theory. Through Erickson's concept of identity crisis, we can see how Will struggles to understand himself, his adolescence. Identity crisis is a crucial period or turning point in the life cycle that may result in either more or less whose strength typically occurs during adolescence. During the entire series, we can see how Will struggles to come to terms with his identity. From determining who he is past his trauma to understanding himself without the mind flayer, we see Will showcasing the identity versus identity confusion principle in his adolescence. Kelly's theory. Through Kelly's personal constructs, we can see how Will interprets the events he faces and how they affect the outcomes in his life. Personal constructs are a person's way of interpreting, explaining, and predicting events. Due to Will's trauma from Vecna and the Upside Down, his personal constructs become tied with threat and fear. For example, whenever Will sees lights flicker, he automatically assumes that the presence of anything linked to the Upside Down is near, thus initiating that fear and threat is in his construct. Isaac's theory. Through Isaac's theory, personality dimension, we can see how Will displays behavior of neuroticism. Neuroticism is a bipolar factor consisting of neuroticism at one pole and stability at the other. Some traits that are highly seen in neuroticism are anxiety, low self-esteem, emotional shy, and tenseness. All these traits are seen in Will as he struggles with anxiety due to his trauma. Some more theories. Bandura's theory. Through Bandura's concept of self-efficacy, we are able to see how Will went from having low self-efficacy to high self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is defined as people's expectation that they are capable of performing those behaviors that will produce desired outcomes in any particular situation. At first, we see Will as having low self-efficacy and not believing in himself and assuming that he is not capable of fighting his trauma. But eventually, we see him continuously prove to himself that he can help fight off the mind flayer. By helping the group figure out how to fight it and by believing in himself, he is able to remove the mind flayer from himself. By becoming high in self-efficacy, we are able to see growth in Will's character. Rodder's theory. Throughout his concept of locus control, we can see how Will has a very strong external locus of control and very weak internal locus of control. Locus of control is a belief that people have that their attempts to reach a goal are within their control, internal or due to powerful events such as fate, chance, or other people, external. Due to Will's trauma with the Upside Down and Vecna, he has a strong external locus of control. Rogers' theory. Through Rogers' concept of incongruence, we can see how Will struggles to come to terms with his own self. Incongruence is the perception of discrepancies between an organismic self, self-concept, and ideal self. We see this incongruence in Will's character as he struggles to understand who he is, what he'd be if it wasn't for the Upside Down, and Vecna, trying to be normal but constantly reminded of what he has experienced and trying to act fine when in reality he is not. Key analysis through Freud. Through Freud's concept of anxiety, we can see how Will suffers from neurotic anxiety and uses defense mechanisms to protect himself. Neurotic anxiety is defined as an apprehension about an unknown danger. After Will's disappearance in the Upside Down and his numerous encounters with Demogorgons and Vecna, he experiences neurotic anxiety every time he has an upside down. He has an episode in the Upside Down or is near anything related to it, and or Hawkins' lab. Due to this, he uses repression as a defense mechanism and represses these feelings and memories to convince himself and his friends that he is fine. He is not. Key analysis using the trait or biological aspect. Through Isaac's personality dimension, we can see how Will displays behavior of neuroticism. Neuroticism is a bipolar factor consisting of neuroticism at one pole and stability at the other. Some traits that are highly seen in neuroticism are anxiety, low self-esteem, emotional, shy, and tenseness. All these traits are seen in Will as he struggles with anxiety due to his trauma, low self-esteem due to bullying, tenseness due to the threat and fear he develops from the Upside Down, and emotional responses due to his trauma of disappearing. Key analysis from the learning or social cognitive aspect. Throughout his concept of locus of control, we can see how Will has a very strong external locus of control and a very weak internal locus of control. Locus of control is a belief that people have that their attempts to reach a goal are within their both control, internal, or due to powerful events such as fate, chance, or other people, external. Due to Will's trauma with the Upside Down and Vecna, he has a very strong external locus of control. Will thinks that everything that has happened to him is meant to happen and is due to the Upside Down and feels that he has no power or say as to what happens to him. Since he feels weak and completely taken over by Vecna, he just accepts that everything that happens to him is because of Vecna rather than taking control over his own life. Critical evaluation. The most useful theory when comparing theories was Freud's theory and Isaac's theory. Since they both dealt with neuroticism and anxiety, they went hand in hand when understanding Will's character. Since Will's character is a very neurotic individual that developed heavy anxiety due to his experience, it's also easy to see how other theories intertwine with neuroticism, such as Roger's locus of control. Key takeaways. Will Byers is a very neurotic individual that suffers with a lot of anxiety, low self-esteem, and fear threats in his life. Will Byers thinks that he has no control in his life and that the upside down and Vecna are the cause and explanation for everything. They dictate his life. Will feels supported and useful when helping his friends and mother with figuring out more about the upside down. These are my references, and I hope you guys enjoyed my analysis on Will Byers from Stranger Things, which is my favorite series. Thank you.